All right, this is exciting because we're going to unbox the radio. And we have a box within a box. Now let's see what's inside. All right. It looks like we have a remote, a mic for some wireless calling, looks like a receipt, some instructions and paperwork from Mr. Willman, and the instructions for the actual radio inside. Let's go ahead and take it out slowly. It is incredible the things that you could do with some time and some skill. So let's go over briefly what this radio is capable of. And again, I am blown away by the attention to detail and the amount of work that Mr. Willman put into this radio. Now, this bad boy comes with a lot of neat features, and some of those is that the buttons on the original OEM factory radio still function. Like the volume button not only adjusts the volume, but it allows you to enter certain menus like the system and the equalizer and other ones. A great thing about it too is this seek button still functions as a seek button, which is crazy. These buttons 1 through 8 actually have a purpose. So your presets is gonna be 1 through 6. Number 7 is gonna be your back button. And then number 8 is gonna be your band button. So these buttons right here are not gonna be working right here but they still move and look like they did from the factory. Now, when we turn this around, the great thing about this radio, not only does it have features, it has options. We have a connector for the mic. You also have 2 USB ports. We have our original connector for the antenna, which is great. And then we have an aux port right here, which is awesome. All of this was designed to make it a great and user-friendly experience for the driver. But I wanted to give you an idea of some of the features that this radio has because there is so much more. And here is the radio modification that I did. And let me tell you right away that someone novice like me trying to do this, OMG, the big difference is crazy. I want to take a moment and tell you that this took a lot of time to do. Now, I didn't ask Mr. Willman exactly how long it took him to research and develop this, but I'm gonna give you an example. So when I was doing mine, I really didn't address any of the buttons. None of my buttons on my faceplate work. I was using a remote. But think about the alignment and the mechanisms and the engineering and the math and everything that needed to happen in order for him to align the buttons of the new radio to work with the OEM faceplate. That took a lot of time, guys. And that is why this really stands out and it's really unique because it delivers the newest technology while keeping a lot of the buttons still functional. But the greatest thing about this is gonna be this, guys. He did a direct conversion from the aftermarket radio to the OEM plug. And let me tell you, when I was doing mine or attempting to do mine, I definitely skipped that part. I just kind of hardwired it in there and it wasn't a good thing. Now, as you could tell, someone who's doing their DIY stuff, look at the difference in this. You have the actual connector, which allows this to be a plug and play with the NSX. Now, let me tell you, that is great because anyone, it doesn't matter from a novice to an electrical engineer, you could just plug this in and this is an easy swap. This is an easy plug and play solution for the car, which is great. A great thing about this radio too is that it works with both aftermarket and the OEM speakers. Now, if you're not familiar with that, OEM speakers have a different impedance than the aftermarket speakers you can get today, and it's kind of hard sometimes to match that impedance with radios. This setup is designed to work with that, and that is really cool because not only is it plug and play, but you don't have to tear apart your speakers, you don't have to modify your speakers. This just plugs into your radio port, you connect it, and you have Bluetooth, and you're able to utilize the front settings like you did before you did the swap. So why did I go with Willman's Electronics NSX Bluetooth radio? Well, let me tell you why. On my radio, you cannot see the screen. And the reason why is that there's like a plastic tinted screen that comes on the original NSX radio, and it's too dark and you can't see what's going on. So you don't know what status or what source or anything that's going on with the radio, and that kind of got to me. As a matter of fact, even in nighttime, you can barely tell what's going on, even with the brightness settings all the way up on the radio that's inside here. So really, that was a biggie for me. But one of the biggest things was the volume button. I am a talker. I talk in the car all the time. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And usually when you're talking, you're raising and lowering the volume, and it's really hard to do that with a remote, and that's what I was doing. And I really like to just reach over and turn up and turn down the volume. And this is one of the things that really made me want to go with a really well done, properly done, retrofitted Bluetooth radio. All right, so what's next? Well, we're gonna install the new NSX modified radio in our 1991 NSX. And we're gonna help you guys see how that process goes, and we're gonna be directing you to another YouTuber's channel if you need to know how to replace or take off your center console. It's a pretty easy process, but there's a really good video already on YouTube, which I'm gonna direct you to. But once we have a center console off, which we already do, we're gonna install our radio, and then we're gonna play with all the functions. You heard it right, I love to press buttons. I'm a gamer, I am in the zone. I'm gonna play with all the features, show you guys on camera how it looks, the screen. We're gonna press the buttons, and I can already tell you that button pressing is a science, because these buttons feel good. And that's important, because if a button doesn't feel right, it takes away from the experience. A lot of people don't know that there's a lot of engineering behind buttons. Well, after we get it all installed, we're gonna take a couple weeks and we're gonna enjoy the radio. We're gonna listen to some Bluetooth music, some HD radio. We're gonna take some hands-free phone calls while we're driving, and we're really gonna experience it and then get back with you. We have all the information for the radio, for Willman Electronics, and if you need to reach out to Daryl, you could reach him through his email, and also you could see his new website, which is nsxstereo.com. And let me tell you, I'm super pumped up because this is gonna be a really great addition to the NSX.